Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 41 to 45.
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखायनं ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम् यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मानस्वर्गपराः जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदाः निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्तः निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Last week we saw shloka number 41 to 44, which is giving the topic desire-ridden actions. Shri Krishna, in fact, began with giving the highest knowledge from verses 11 to 30, where he discussed about the indestructibility of the Atman. Then from 31 to 40, he emphasized upon doing one's own duty, following one's swadharma for the welfare of the world. Then from 41 to 44, is cautioning about the desire-ridden actions. So ideally what he wants to say is, once you've got the knowledge, to get the knowledge established in you, because ultimately the purpose of human life is to liberate, attain moksha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the four Purusharthas or four goals generally all of us seek. And initially we need to gain Dharma and then go through Artha and Kama, that is wealth and enjoyment, and then rise our mind above the wealth and enjoyment, and then come to the ultimate goal of liberation, moksha, freedom. We have already discussed the formula in Vedanta, that is God plus vasanas or desires equals human beings. So human beings minus vasanas or minus desires equals Godhead. So the Advaita Vedanta philosophy says that your essential nature is divinity. You are that supreme Brahman. But due to ignorance, you have covered that Brahman or reality with desires, and as a result, you are lost in this samsara. So you need to rise above the desires, cleanse yourself from all the desires, and then reveal the self within. It is called discovery and not attainment. You got to discover, you got to remove the desires, and then the self reveals itself. You realize, you enlighten, you get enlightened that you are Brahman. So you have always been Brahman, but due to ignorance, you imagine yourself to be this limited individual. So you need to gain the knowledge, remove the ignorance, remove the desires, and realize the truth. But for the knowledge to get established in you, you can go to the Guru and ask, and the Guru will give you only if you are qualified. And to the extent you are qualified, to that extent you will be able to digest the knowledge. And the knowledge digested immediately gives you liberation. This knowledge is called as Uttama Jnanam, because in all other knowledge, you got to put that knowledge into practice. Whereas here, if you are really qualified and having highly qualified, if you gain the knowledge, it instantly gives you moksha. It immediately removes the wrong identification with the body, mind, and intellect, and you start having the right identification with the Atma and get liberated. So, therefore, you need to eradicate the desires. How? You need to eradicate the desires through action, not by inaction. The chronology of action says that every action springs from desires. Actions come from desires, and desires come from thoughts, and thoughts come from vasanas. Vasanas comes from the root vas in Sanskrit. Vas means fragrance. Each one of us have a particular fragrance, a bundle of vasanas, inner inclinations or innate nature or temperaments. You can say so for vasanas. So all of us do not have the same set of vasanas. Somebody has vasanas for painting, somebody has vasanas for dancing, somebody has vasanas for singing, etc. So the fellow who has vasanas for painting, that person gets the thoughts of painting, then desires to paint, then actual actions follow up. The fellow takes up the brush and starts painting. Similarly, dancing, singing, etc. Now, when you do your actions, desire propelled, what happens? Desire propelled means thinking about the results and doing the action. So your thoughts are constantly on the object of your action. Therefore, you will be creating more and more impressions of that object, whereby you will be creating more and more vasanas. So the chronology of action says vasanas, thoughts, desires, actions, and then from actions again you produce vasanas. Thus you get caught in the cycle of going on producing more and more vasanas. And there is more vasanas, birth you will take again. Then you will create more vasanas, you die, create, because of the vasanas you will be born again. So you will go through birth and death, then birth and death. You get caught in the samsara. So if you want to break this chain, you have to break the chain of creating more vasanas. Now, since you already have vasanas, you can't say, I will not act. Then what will happen? You will be mentally thinking about those objects, you will create more vasanas. So therefore, you have to act. But if your actions are propelled by desires, what happens? That is what he talks about from 41 to 44. Then 45 to 53, he gives karma yoga. He says your actions have to be done in the spirit of yoga, which is what is called as karma yoga. So what does karma yoga do? It reduces the bulk of your desires and gives you chitta shuddhi. And then you will be able to do upasana, which will give you chitta ekagrata. Upasana means sitting near an idol, saguna, form, which represents the ideal, which is formless, reality. And then you single-pointedly focus your mind upon that. So you develop single-pointedness. So you have to develop purification of the thoughts and single-pointedness of the thoughts. And to the extent you develop that, to that extent you will be able to absorb the knowledge. You need chitta shuddhi. Please understand. So for that, in the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, we mentioned to you in the previous class that every Veda has 4 parts. Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana, these are 4 Vedas. And all of these Vedas, they have 4 parts. What are the 4 parts? Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishads. Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, put together, they deal with rituals. Mostly rituals. And these rituals are for what purpose? To fulfill your desires and see the frivolous nature, trivial nature of the objects achieved through the desires, through the rituals, and purify the mind and rise above that and start seeking moksha. To enable you to qualify to seek moksha, to enable you to qualify to gain knowledge, to give you jnana yogyata. You understand? So therefore, these rituals are to be used properly for chitta shuddhi. But unfortunately, majority of people do not understand it that way. So what do? They get completely involved in the rituals. If you understand all this, then your intellect will be resolute. So in 41 he says, in this the intellect is resolute and one-pointed, O Kurunandana, O Arjuna, joy of the Kuru clan, many branched and endless indeed are the thoughts of the irresolute. So in Karma Yoga, your thoughts are single-pointed. It is given a direction towards a higher goal, higher purpose. Now, if you do not have such a goal, then what happens? Your mind by itself lacks direction or dimension. It goes in all different directions and it keeps on asking for more and more and more and more. It is never satisfied. It goes in all directions. Many branched and endless indeed are the thoughts of the irresolute. Therefore, what you have to do? You have to give a direction to your desires. But majority of people, what do? They are unwise. So they utter flowery speech. They keep quoting Vedas. They rejoice in the letter of the Vedas. And I look at this, Vedas say you got to do this. Here Vedas means the Veda Purva Bhava, the beginning portion of the Vedas. So they get tremendous joy in just quoting Vedas and doing all these rituals. And then they say there is nothing else other than this. That's all. You got to keep on doing rituals, going on, performing rituals, go to temples, do this, do that from morning till night, and have no idea about going beyond desires, going on fulfilling desires, and they think that's the end all and be all of life. So he says, obsessed with desires, with heaven as the ultimate goal of birth and action. See, when your actions are propelled by desires, if that happens to be good desire, something that you want to do for larger people, not just for yourself, then you gain what is called as punya. Punya will give you reservation in heaven. Heaven doesn't mean a place, geographical place. It means a state of mind. You will get that booked. So Shastras say, when a person dies, immediately the person doesn't take birth. It doesn't specify how long. It says year long. You understand? Year long, you will be born. But in that in-between period, you will be like you are in dream. Like, every night you go to sleep. You are not in deep sleep all the time. In between, you are in dream also. So like that, you will be in a state of mind. Remember, when a person dies, what has happened? We already discussed. The gross body is there, Atma is there because it is everywhere. Then what has happened? The subtle body, Sukshma Sharira, has moved along with Vasanas from one gross body to another. Till it takes another birth, the subtle body is having a certain experience. So that he calls as heaven and hell, which is given by punya and papa. So if while living in this body, your actions are desire-ridden, it will give you punya and papa. If the desires are for good of larger circle, then you gain punya. If the desires are selfish, self-centered, then you gain papa. And we are all mixture of papa and punya. So you will go through heaven and hell. So he says, all of us, what do you want? You want to maximum enjoy here in this world. As much as possible, I must enjoy. Then when I die also, I want to reserve a seat in the heaven so that I enjoy there also. But what we don't understand is heaven is not Shashwatam. It is temporary. Once all the desires are exhausted, you will have to come back. All desires mean punya, sorry. When the punyas are exhausted, you will come back. You will come back to Choir 1. According to your resultant, you will take birth. Then the whole samsara again continues. So he says, obsessed with desires, with heaven as the ultimate goal of birth and action. They don't understand that heaven is also ashashvatam. It is not shashvatam. It is not eternal. In the chapters later on, Sri Krishna gives in 88th chapter, verse 16, he says, Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravarti surjuna. Up to the world of Brahma Loka, you will have to come back. You don't come back only when you realize the self. Only when the vasanas are completely exhausted, there is no more rebirth. Till then, you'll keep on coming back. So, if you are really interested, if you have got this understanding clearly in you, you won't seek even heaven. Even heaven is a hindrance. So, therefore, they do not understand all this. They have only desire for heaven. So, what do? They perform specific rites for attainment of pleasure and power. That's all. Nothing else they are interested in. They are only interested in this. And those who are attached to pleasure and power, whose minds are drawn away by that means that flowery speech, have no determined intellect fixed in samadhi. They have no goal of self-realization, enlightenment. They have no goal of higher purpose in life. Khao, piyo, maja karo. That's all. So they use Vedas also for that purpose. That's all. They'll quote Vedas. They say, okay, bas itna hi hai. Arey yaar, Vedas themselves are saying, do this ritual, perform these rituals, you will get this benefit. Aur kya chahiye bhai? Ye karo, bas, I am doing it from morning till evening. Every day, we keep saying, Ekadashi, Trayodashi, Amavasya, Paurnami. Every day there is something or the other. So accordingly, you go to this temple, you do this puja, you go there. You either do actions, meaning karmakanda, the rituals to fulfill desires or remove obstacles. Shani Bhagavan, okay, on Saturdays you go and do this. So that you will get this, you will retain this. Get this, you retain it. That's all whole life you are doing. Whole life you are doing what? Get things which are ashashvatam. Try to retain it in spite of knowing that it is ashashvatam. Somehow retain. And then, okay, I know that this body is going to be ashashvatam. Then what to do? Produce children. So that these things which are ashashvatam, I can pass it on to my children because they have my own nose. They have my own eyes. They look like me. They've come through me. They are me, my extension. So I want to give it to them. You keep it. Then they produce the same thing, their children, they give it to them. This tamasha is going on. So if you do not understand, you will get stuck in rituals. If you understand, you will use rituals. So all he's trying to say is, Veda Purva Bhaga is not criticizing. He's criticizing for people who are getting absolutely involved in it. You understand? You understand, then there is no problem. You don't understand, you'll get absolutely lost in it. That's all he's saying. So therefore, you must use these rituals and not get lost in it. If you use it, what happens? You will develop Chitta Shuddhi, which will give you eligibility to gain knowledge. And such a person, when he or she gains knowledge, the knowledge starts percolating within, and then they'll slowly move towards liberation. This is the idea. Now, from 45 to 53, he gives the next topic, which is desireless actions leads to self-realization. 45 to 53. Basically, he is introducing Karma Yoga here. He puts the seed of Karma Yoga here. And he elaborates it further in detail in the third chapter. The chapter itself, third chapter itself is called as Karma Yoga. You understand? But here he gives it in a nutshell. In fact, second chapter and 18th chapter is the summary of the message that he wanted to give in the entire Gita. Like, news reading. When they do the news reading, in the beginning, what do they say? Detail. First, they say, the highlights, important news. What they are going to cover the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So they give that. And then they give the detailed news. Then again, in the end, they come back to those 5 or 6 highlighted news, headlines. So first headlines, then detailed news, then again headlines. Similarly, second chapter headlines, means it's the complete summary of Bhagavad Gita. Then detailed explanation from 3rd chapter till 17th chapter. Then 18th chapter, again headlines. That's all. That's how he presents the Gita. Now let's get on to sloka number 45.
त्रैगुण्यविषया वेदाः निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थः निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान्.
Very, very interesting shloka. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Traigunya Vishaya Veda means all the Vedas are just nothing but talking about 3 gunas, the Vishaya of the 3 gunas, meaning samsara, meaning the world. The Vedas deal with the 3 gunas, attributes. 3 gunas. Maya is called Triguna Atmika. And the Maya manifests as the subtle world and the gross world. Hiranyagarbha and Virat Purusha. Okay. So, Vedas, here when he says Traigunya Vishya Vedaha, again Vedas means what? It is talking about Veda Purva Bhaga. Remember, the rituals, they deal with Veda Purva Bhaga. Meaning what? The karma kandas. They give karma kandas. What is that? Rituals. With which what you can do? You can fulfill your desires, achieve success, etc. in this world. They talk about samsara. That's it. They are pertaining to the world. So you should not get stuck there. That's what he wants to say. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. O Arjuna, become Nistraigunya. O Arjuna, be thou free from the 3 gunas. 3 gunas means what? From the vasanas. From sattva, rajas, tamas. What are the 3 gunas? Sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. The mind, all of us have these 3 qualities, these 3 attributes. Everybody's mind has sattva, rajas, and tamas. Sattva means balanced, serene, composed state of mind. Rajas is desire-ridden, greedy, restless, result-oriented state of mind. Tamas is lazy, lethargic, indolent, heedless to consequence state of mind. And all of us have all these 3. And we are only constantly running towards these gunas. Sattva, if you are predominantly sattvic, you will be bound by knowledge. All this is given in detail in the 14th chapter of the Gita. Incidentally, we are doing 14th chapter of the Gita every Wednesday. Now, this Wednesday class, I do every Wednesday in GK2. So that Wednesday class, sometimes I do online, otherwise it's mostly hybrid. So there, we are doing 14th chapter now. There we are talking about 3 gunas. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. So there he says, Sattva binds a person to knowledge. You know, a person who is predominantly sattvic, he is interested in gaining knowledge, etc. You know, happiness, health. His mind is so much focused on those things only. And if a person is rajasic, his mind is completely bound by the worldly desires, acquisitions of name, fame, money, power, etc. You know, and if a person is highly tamasic, so rajas binds to the worldly desires. So sattva binds to knowledge, happiness, enjoyment, subtle enjoyments, and then health, etc. Rajas binds to worldly desires, you know, acquisition of wealth, name, fame, power, etc. And tamas binds to nidra, you know, laziness, sleep, you know, those kind of enjoying life without having to contribute. In those areas, these people whose mind is highly tamasic gets bound. So, in other words, it is still looking down. Like an eagle may be soaring so high in the sky, but the eagle's attention is where? It is constantly upon the prey. Similarly, our mind is still in the worldly. Oh, I want to go to this temple. I want to do this ritual. I want to read this book. In some places. Now, we are just in the second chapter. There is a long way to go to complete Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters. But when we are in the 18th chapter, suddenly your mind will start getting disturbed. अरे यार 18 chapter 60th श्लोका आ गया अभी बाकी सिर्फ 18 श्लोकास है so it will finish very soon. Then next what text will you do? Sir, next what scripture will you do, sir? As if in the next scripture something new he is going to say. He will probably present the same thing in a different way. Like the Bollywood movie, Most other stories are same. But it is presented in different ways. Screenplay is different. That's all. So, all the time, knowledge, wealth, enjoyment, sleep. So what is happening? We are completely lost in the world. So he says, Vedas deal with that only, man. What else? That is all. In the world, how to enjoy, live. If that is all you know, then it's fine. When you have a capacity to be flying, why you want to be completely bound? See, a caterpillar, when it's born, it's a caterpillar. But then slowly, the caterpillar realizes that I can fly. You understand? I can break the bondage and fly. Due to my stupidity, I am bound today. When I have the capacity to fly, why should I not fly? No, I am very happy to be bound here. Okay, chalo, theek hai. Vedanta doesn't say anything. But when you have the potential, it wants to tell you, Arey yaar, you can fly. So the Vedas deal with the three gunas, attributes. Be thou free, O Arjuna, from the three gunas. You have the capacity to rise above these three gunas. You must rise above these three gunas. You must rise from tamas to rajas to sattva. And once you get established in sattva, then Vedanta will tell you, you have to go beyond sattva also. First, you have to bring yourself to sattva, no doubt, as much as possible. When you become highly sattvic, then Vedanta will tell you, hey Baba, don't get stuck there also. Go beyond sattva and then liberate. Because the truth, Brahman, is what? Nirguna Tattvam. Maya is Trigunatmika. But Brahman is Nirguna Tattvam. You got to become Guna Atita. You got to go beyond gunas. So you have to go beyond tamas, you got to go beyond rajas, you got to go beyond sattva also. But first, don't think about going beyond sattva. Because in the name of going beyond sattva, majority of us have fallen into tamas. That's why Swami Vivekananda got fed up. He is saying, he saw that, in this country, is Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, everything is given. Great philosophy is given. All philosophies are given in different languages. If you go to Tamil, literature is plenty. In Sanskrit, literature is plenty. Too many literatures are there given in this country by great rishis. But in this country, highly lazy, lethargic we are. Nothing moves. So much of dirt everywhere. What is this? Even our own temples, we keep it dirty. You understand? So what is that? We are still stuck in tamas. Karenge, dekhenge, sochenge. Ho jayega. What ho jayega? Kab hoga? You understand? So therefore, he says, go play football. Swami Vivekananda, he got fed up. He said, Arey, you idiots, you are better off going playing football. Just bring in rajas. So from tamas, you get into rajas. But don't get stuck there. From rajas, you move to sattva. Then from sattva, you have to move to beyond sattva. That is enlightenment, self-realization. So this is the way you have to go. So therefore he says, don't get stuck with Vedas, man. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Use those Vedas, meaning the Veda Purva Bhaga, to achieve Sattva Guna. So the rituals and all that are meant for what purpose? To achieve Sattva Guna. You understand? To be developing more and more balanced state of mind. So that is what is important. So therefore he says, O Arjuna, be thou free from Traigunya Vishaya, from the three gunas. And then what does he say? Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Then to become Nistraigunya, what do you have to do? Nirdvandvaha. Dvandva means what? Pairs of opposites. This entire universe, world is full of pairs of opposites. Isn't it? Victory, defeat, joy, sorrow, honor, dishonor, pleasure, pain. All these are in pairs of opposites. Heat and cold, etc. Everything is in pairs of opposites. Therefore, another name for this world is Dvandvaha. So he says, Nirdvandvaha. You should become free from these dvandvas. You should become free means what? You should work upon yourself to be not dependent on these dvandvas. What are we doing? How are we lost in dvandvas today? Courting joy, avoiding sorrow. Courting heat during winter, avoiding cold during winter. Opposite in summer. So in other words, all of us 24/7 are dependent on these worldly things, and then we are going on seeking that and getting stuck in it. So you're going to work upon yourself to become nirdvandvaha, free from the pairs of opposites. Become independent. You understand? Now, I already mentioned to you in one of the shlokas, to become independent. See, if you are all the time thinking about you as this body, mind, intellect all the time, then, you will be interested in the pleasures of the body, mind, intellect. Now you, Shastras have told you, you are not this body, you are not this mind, you are not this intellect, but this knowledge has to get established in you. You are the Atma. For that knowledge to get established in you, you are doing all this purification process. So therefore, what do? You keep a higher goal and then work. He talks about all that from 47, 48. So when your attention is upon the goal, you won't bother about these external factors. Understand? You become mentally free from these nirdvandvaha. So, nistraigunya bhava, nirdvandva bhava. Use this word bhava everywhere. Put this word bhava everywhere. So, nistraigunya bhava, nirdvandva bhava. You understand? You have to become free from dvandvas, the pairs of opposites. All the time we are stuck with it. We want pleasure only. So we are thinking about pleasure. And when we are going on thinking about pleasure, inside we are thinking about, oh my God, I hope the pain doesn't come. I hope the pain doesn't come. So we are lost in this. So rise your mind above these pleasures and pain of this world. Enough is enough. You can do nothing about it. They'll keep coming and going. Everybody will have something or the other. Wherever you go, there will be some pain, some pleasure, something like that. Recently in the academy, due to heavy rains in Maharashtra, our ashram was flooded. You understand? So a few days they had to go through difficulty. So just because you are sitting in ashram doesn't mean you will be left alone. Everybody will have to go through. So just leave it, na? Why give so much? All the time only doing that. Whole life becomes completely predominated by that. Just fighting for this. Isn't there something higher? You understand? Think like that, he says. Nistraigunya bhava Arjuna. Nirdvandva bhava Arjuna. Then he says, Nitya sattvastaha bhava Arjuna. Nitya sattvastaha. You should be balanced always. You should develop sattva in you. Why do we say rise early in the morning? Go to bed as early as possible. Why such a lifestyle is prescribed? Because the Ved masters have analyzed and they have observed in their life that, generally the tamasic tendencies usually come up once you have the whole day worked and become tired and your intellect is not so alert. What happens? You tend to give in to all the tamasic activities. So if you see throughout the day, people try to fulfill their desires. So rajasically they function. Throughout the day, the time the sun rises till the time sun settles, everybody is running only to fulfill the desires anywhere in the world. And by the time evening comes, having used their buddhi to simply acquire and enjoy, it slowly starts becoming tired. And then all the tamasic activities, all the desires that you have, and the environment is also conducive outside. So what happens? They'll have the tendencies to gamble, all that comes up after 6 o'clock in the evening, slowly. Drinking, gambling, all starts later in the night. You understand? So what did they say? To deal with tamas, if you have your dinner and go to bed early, tamas is there in all of us, that is unavoidable. So you spend that tamas nicely in resting the body, in sleep. You understand? If you are awake, then there is a possibility of you getting involved in all these things. Right? So there, which means what? You will increase tamas. So therefore they said, go to bed early, give complete rest to the body. And then when you have deep sleep, slowly, the dream and everything happens. So all the unfulfilled desires, everything settles. Right? And when you wake up in the morning, immediately your conscious mind doesn't wake up. Immediately all your desires doesn't come up. And then you get up and say, okay, I want to paint, I want to dance. You don't do all that. Right? So that's the time when your desires are not fully awakened. So externally also, the environment is conducive and your body is rested well. Your mind is also calm. That's the time for you to study, meditate, reflect upon the scriptures, and develop more and more sattva. You understand? Balance. Develop more and more awareness. Then with that awareness, you will continue doing your activities throughout the day. You will convert the actions into karma yoga rather than just fulfilling desires. Thus, you will be slowly establishing yourself more and more in sattva. So, your focus should be in establishing yourself in sattva. So, relative goal. At the moment, if we say, my goal is to liberate, realize the self, we'll be fooling ourselves. Forget about realization and all that right now. Right now, your goal should be to what? Just establish yourself in sattva. So therefore he says, Nitya sattvastaha bhava. So the food that is conducive to increase sattva, you contact. Anything for that matter that will help you to increase sattva, you will contact. A lifestyle that will help you to increase sattva. That is all you will be doing. Nothing else. So therefore he says, Nistray gunya bhava, nirdvandva bhava, nitya sattvastaha bhava. You understand? Establish yourself in sattva. Even if somebody is coming and trying to argue with you, don't get lost in that argument. Don't get dragged in that argument. Because I am a sadhak. I want to keep my mind calm. Because only in my calm mind I can do reflection. Only in the calm mind does the self reveal itself. So I do not want to get unnecessarily lost in any argument, even if it is arguments in spiritual discussion. So that should be your attitude. As much as possible, I must establish myself in sattva. Why do I care? They have no better goal. So they have all the time in the world to go on arguing. I don't want to get involved in that. So nitya sattvastaha bhava. Then Niryogakshema Bhava. Niryogakshema. Now, in the 9th chapter also he uses this word Yogakshema. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami aham. Yes. In the 9th chapter. So Yogakshema. What is this word yoga and kshema? Yoga means what? Attaining what has not been attained. Apraptasya prapti. What has not been attained, I want to attain. I don't have car, so I want to attain car. I don't have a house, I want to attain house. This is called yoga. Wanting to attain what has not been attained. Shema is what? Praptasya rakshanam. That which has been attained has to be retained and protected and retained. So what? That is called kshema. The whole life, what are we doing? This only we are doing. Whole life, I want to get this car, I want to get this car, I want to get this car. And then, now that has become my status. Now I have to retain my status, which is more difficult. Sometimes people say, for our institute or ashram or something, okay, we will donate this car, we will donate this. Okay, theek hai, good, you have good intentions, you will donate, but who will maintain it? Maintenance is even bigger headache. You understand? So if you want to do something, please, otherwise it's okay, no problem. Because retaining is another headache. It's not easy. And that's what we are doing whole life. Run to achieve some status. Then it's such a big headache. I have to maintain that status. I can't give lunch in ordinary restaurants. If I'm hosting lunch, it has to be in certain restaurants. Who asked you to, but foolishly we do all that. So that's what he said. Whole life goes in this. Acquisition and preservation. Acquisition, preservation. Acquisition, preservation. So he says, free from yoga and kshema. Niryoga kshema bhava. Niryoga kshema bhava means let your life not be just acquisition and preservation. We have better capacity than animals. Animal is just living. What does animal do? Survival, reproduction, survival, reproduction. But we can do much better things. So we are capable of doing much better things. So we have to live like human beings. Not get stuck there, acquisition, preservation, and everything is just asashwatam. Why getting lost in it? That doesn't mean you don't take it. In other words, earlier he said, establish yourself in sattva. Now he is saying, manage rajas. You understand? This is rajas. Rajasic fellow lives like this. Rajasic fellow's whole motto in life is, Kao piyo maja kar. Just fulfill desires, enjoy. Whole life. That's it. Whole life he wants to just enjoy. Fulfill desire, enjoy. Fulfill desire, enjoy. Nothing beyond that fellow can conceive of. So you got to manage rajas. What you have to do for all that? You have to do karma yoga. See, he's just saying you have to become free from these things. How? You have to do karma yoga. What is karma yoga? How to do? He gives in a nutshell in 47, 48. Then elaborately, he talks about it in 3rd chapter. That's how the thought flow continues. So he says, become free from acquisition and preservation. Then he says, Atmavan Bhava. Niryogakshema Atmavan. Atmavan Bhava. You put this Bhava everywhere. Nistraya Gunya Bhava. Nirdvandva Bhava. Nitya Sattvastaha Bhava. Niryogakshema Bhava. Atmavan Bhava. Atmavan Bhava, translated in Swamiji's translation as established in the self, which means what? Controlling yourself. उसके लिए effort करना पड़ता है. which means what? Eliminate tamas. So eliminate tamas, manage rajas, increase sattva. Then you will become free, independent of the dualities. When you become independent of dualities, you become free from the three gunas. That's the idea. You got to work in reverse order. So you got to eliminate tamas. This is the most important thing. So he says, Atmavan. Atmavan means you are in your control. Today, are you in your control? Something comes in front of you, your awareness, attention is drawn by that. Before you realize, you're completely pulled by that and lost it. You understand? So your awareness is gone. You get lost. You get completely deluded. You are in tamas. You thereafter don't know what you're doing. That's all it is. Then you will only want to run, and somehow achieve that. And you may be losing a lot of energy. You may be destroying your health, your name, fame, but still you will do it because you're in total delusion. That's how we are functioning. Because you're completely attracted by the worldly pleasures, worldly enjoyments. So therefore, today you are not Atmavan. So before all of us can really think about self-realization, enjoyment and all that, scriptures time and again tell us, first, you should have your personality under your control, your mind under your control, your senses under your control. Work upon that. That is not easy. No? Tamas aa jata, alasya aa jata. So, postpone karo. So he says, no, Atmavan Bhava. See, tamas, you can't discuss with tamas. You discuss with tamas, it will consume you fully. You see some cobweb in any part of your room or in the ceiling somewhere, if you see, okay, tomorrow we'll clean it. That tomorrow never comes. You have to immediately take the necessary action. You have to get the jadu, and then broomstick and clean it. Otherwise, that tomorrow never comes. Then what happens? That more and more cobweb starts getting collected. When more cobweb starts getting collected, oh my God, इतना है, नहीं इसके लिए एक दिन चाहिए होगा, पूरा दिन चाहिए, तो अभी possible नहीं, Sunday करेंगे, and Sunday something else will come, something you will never do, and then the whole room is full of cobweb and you are sitting inside, and you won't even know that you are. So you say, what is the problem? सब ठीक चल रहा है. You fellows are going on complaining, man. Everything is normal only, no? Problem क्या है? You understand? You come to that level. All of us. You means any one of us. So tamas has to be immediately dealt with. Take a broomstick and immediately clean. Take action. So he says, he says, Atmavan Bhava. Eliminate tamas. Annihilate tamas. Manage rajas. Establish yourself in sattva. Become independent of the pairs of opposites. And then go beyond gunas. Then only you will be able to go beyond gunas. What will help you to go beyond gunas? When you are established in sattva, when you become free from the pleasure and pain, these things should not bother you. Then only you can sit and listen to these lectures. Or read scriptures. You need such a mind now. See, it is said in the story of sage Ashtavakra and King Janaka. King Janaka was the disciple of sage Ashtavakra. When the lectures are going on, the students, some of the other students, disciples, they were having this attitude, thinking that this guru, sage, is having some kind of a partiality towards the king. Though he is also a disciple only like us, no? But still, he is a little bit partial towards the this particular Sishya who is the king. This thought was there in the disciples, it seems. The Guru understood that. So he wanted to teach them a lesson, make them understand. So he, through his siddhi powers, created fake fire in the in the kingdom, in the whole state. Everywhere there was fire. These fellows were looking through the windows while the class going on. Houses were on fire. They immediately started running to save their houses. And after some time, they realized it was fake. Nothing like that happened, like mirage, So they returned. When they returned, the king is sitting there, the class is going on. What is that story telling us? The story is telling, but all maximum damage is for the king because the entire kingdom belongs to him. But his mind was completely free from the preoccupations of the world. He had tremendous vairagya. You understand? So, when he says, Nistray Gunya Bhava, means you have to become vairagi. You need that kind of a vairagya if you want to gain the scriptures. Otherwise, it's not possible. I remember once in one of our classes, somebody's phone started ringing. And then not only ringing, she started answering the phone. Loudly she's speaking. So I had to stop the class. Then it happened again after some time. 2-3 times when it happened, then I said, Madam, please, if you really want to, you have some work to do, you may leave the class, no problem. You come when you're free, whenever you feel like, you're ready. But don't disturb the class because it disturbs the thought flow. She took offense. She said, no, there is mother and father, they are very old. They are sitting there. Emergency only they call. Why are you telling me I should not answer? Baba, I never said don't answer. I only said don't answer here. You can answer, go outside and answer. You don't have to be in the class. It's okay. Why you want to disturb others? If your mind is preoccupied, it's not possible. You have to be free. Many students, when they come from abroad, especially to study in India, why abroad example? Because mostly the students abroad in the West, they take loan for their studies, higher education. Here also now I'm told it's happening. Otherwise here parents used to pay, but sometimes when it's too expensive, maybe they'll have to go for loans. But there, generally the students, they take loan, they have to pay it back. So when they get interested in studying Vedanta, when they want to enroll 3 years full-time course in the ashram, Swamiji, one of the questions he asks is, have you guys got any loan? If you have got loan, you have to finish that. Otherwise, while sitting here, you'll be thinking about that, you won't be able to concentrate. You will not be able to concentrate. It's not possible. So he says, try and finish that, and I'll also see how I can help you. Through somebody who's known to us, he will discuss and say, if you can help, if you think you can help, please do. Because this fellow wants to come and study. So then they may help, and that's how. Because when you come, you should be completely free. If your mind is not completely free, it's not possible for the knowledge to go in. See, that's what, when we do these classes in person, that's the advantage. If the same discipline we all can maintain when we do the classes online, good. But when we do online, every now and then, we allow the phone to ring, we allow somebody to come inside and talk to us, we also go outside and do certain things and come back. That Maryada, if it's not there, the knowledge won't go in. It may be an advantage for people to attend these sessions in different places in Delhi or somewhere else, which is difficult for them to come to one place. That way it's advantage. But if the mind is not having relative vairagya, it's not absolute vairagya, relative vairagya, at least for this 1 hour from 11 to 12 when we have these classes, the mind should be free of its preoccupations. Enough is enough, whatever happens. Between 11 and 12, even if somebody is coming and giving 5,000 kilograms of gold free, I'm not going to take it. That for between that 11 and 12. Then you will be here. So that's what he said. You have to come to that. For that, what you have to do? First, you have to become Atmavan. Your senses should do what you or your intellect tells it to. Your awareness, your buddhi should not be drawn away by the sense objects. उसके लिए you have to practice sense control, mind control. You understand? Then you will be able to not work for yoga and shema. Otherwise, weak fellows will only work for yoga and shema. How much ever you try, it's not possible. So then only you can deal with the rajas better and then increase sattva, establish yourself in sattva. That's why he puts this. It's a very, very important, interesting shloka. So, Atmavan, eliminate tamas. Then, Niryoga Kshema, manage rajas. Nitya Sattvastaha, establish yourself in sattva. Become independent of the pairs of opposites. Don't allow them to disturb you. Like King Janaka did not allow any of the external happenings to disturb him. He had Vairagya. He became Nistrai Gunyaha. That Vairagya he had. Therefore, he was able to gain the knowledge. This is all he's saying. So, therefore, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, Nistrai Gunyo Bhavarjuna, Nirdvandva Bhavarjuna, Nitya Sattvastaha Bhavarjuna, Niryogakshema Bhavarjuna, Atmavan Bhava Arjuna. Arjuna means what? You replace the word Arjuna with your name. Lakshmi Narayan, Anjali, Nandini, Sudarshan, whatever you want. You replace it. You understand? You put that. So what scripture is trying to tell? You have to not get stuck in rituals. You have to use the rituals, rise above the rituals, purify your mind, single pointedness of the mind you should bring in, and then gain the knowledge. And through knowledge, you will be able to go to dhyanam, meditation. Through meditation, you can get enlightened, liberated. This is the idea. So therefore, he says, in this verse is given 5 sadhanas. Eliminate tamas, manage rajas, establish yourself in sattva, become independent of the pairs of opposites, get established in what? Detachment. Then you will be able to gain knowledge. So these rituals, if you are following, to bring about such mind only, nothing beyond. Let's conclude now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.